Work it up, work it up, work it up, work it up. Hello, everybody. Raul Luna here. Welcome to episode 93. Hey, I think we got Facebook here. We got YouTube. We're connected Instagram here in a moment. Welcome, Instagram. Welcome, welcome. Hey, I got something special from you guys, for you guys. So it is amazing that you guys get to connect here with me for a few minutes, few moments. Welcome to Luna Fire episode 93. For the ones that are new, just know that Luna Fires are daily experiences, moments of illumination, epiphany moments, master ninja tips that I get to experience on a daily basis and get to be here with you so that I can share them openly and you can continue to grow. So welcome, everybody. Make sure that you leave me a message, hit like, subscribe to the channel, and share this video with others. I want to talk to you here today with, something that, I've been experiencing throughout my throughout the years as a real estate investor, especially in my second decade. And it's called abundance that blinds, abundance that blinds. And there's a reason for it. And I want to take a quick moment to share with you. And the reason being is because when I first started real estate investing, you're talking about a little bit over 20 years now. Okay. At the age of 16 years, that's when I first started, doing my very first offers in the real estate field. Remember making my offer on a 4-unit building that I couldn't obviously, fulfill on because I didn't have the age. And I remember that we did it under my father's name. And it was interesting because the offer got accepted. We started doing all the inspections and everything. And then we realized that we couldn't qualify for the loan. So interesting enough, we asked for some help with the family, and the family said no, various, uncles and aunties. And they said, you know what? No, we don't feel comfortable, letting you use our credit and so on and so forth. So the interesting thing is that we went through that experience and realized very, very quickly that we didn't know what we didn't know, that we obviously had to go through so many different processes. So anyways, the reality is this: abundance that blinds. Today, we have so many more things that I didn't had when I first started as a real estate investor a little bit over 20 years ago. And it's interesting to see because when I first started, it was about knocking doors, making cold calls. It was about, having a big booklet like this where you would look into deals or looking deals on the newspaper. And it was interesting because, we didn't have the internet. We didn't have social media. We didn't have many things. Like it was literally, old school fashion. It was, direct mail. It was, MLS. And once again, MLS, it was a book. It was like a book, like a real fat book, right? And it was, cold calling, door knocking. And, we didn't have the luxury of having immediate access to networks. And today, ladies and gentlemen, we have the internet at high capacity, full speed. We got different types of social media platforms. We got the Zillows of the world, the Trulias of the world, the Redfins of the world, the PopStreams of the world. We got, you name it. We got in dozens and hundreds of applications. We get to experience a new era. And yet there's so much freaking abundance, and people make it so freaking complicated to find deals to get into the real estate world. Look what happens when I put my hands so close to the cameras. Look what happens. See, the same abundance of my hand being put in front of the camera creates blindness. It blinds you. And the same thing I get to see from what's happening right now with all the choices that we have. Today, we got online auctions. We got, like I said, all different types of, social media groups that you can tap on right away, that you can find deals in social media groups, in social media networks, that you could find deals from different sources, you name it, dozens of over dozens over dozens. The internet has connected us, has made us be so connected, and yet be at the same time connected but distracted. Can you imagine that? Being connected but distracted. And yet, even with all the abundance that we have, we basically have very little activity, and many people having to still, find themselves as to how do I do it. And one of the things that I've learned, ladies and gentlemen, is this: keep it simple. Keep yourself extremely focused and super simple. Uh, Grab 5 things that you could be exposing yourself extremely consistent. And eventually, that consistency will create, an inertia movement. And then that inertia, it'll just create, momentum. Now, the reason I wanted to share this today here is because you guys have it easier than what I did when I first started in the real estate field. Today you got every platform that you can plug in, and today we got so many groups in so many different platforms that we can tap in, that literally you can find deals faster, easier, better. And yet I see my colleagues having difficult times finding them. And the reality is this: see, technology makes things simpler, but you still got to work the technology. You still, don't expect for the technology to just do it for you. And then, all of a sudden, don't expect the technology to do the negotiating for you, do the connecting for you. And when I mean connecting, like building relationships, I should say, building the relationship with you, because we live in a high-tech world, but we still need to, touch people's hearts. So just understand that. When I first started, it was old school fashion. And because we didn't have many choices, we only did what what was there. And yet it works. And yet, let me tell you one thing: old school still works in the new era. As a matter of fact, I believe that it works really, really great, that many people don't do it because it feels like old school. So just a little bit of food for thought right there. Now, use the social media platforms, use the internet, use all that. When I was transitioning myself from, the things that everybody knows about, and not transitioning meaning like I didn't left direct mail. Direct mail has worked for me for the past 20 years, and it continues to work today. Well, but the knocking doors, or the making cold calls, like when I was transitioning out of that, I still remember when a website would cost you $5,000 to build, or $10,000 to build, when today that's not the case. But ladies and gentlemen, you don't have to even have a website today, and what I mean by this is the regular normal website in order for you to get started. I'm not saying that it's not important. Obviously, it's critical more today than ever so. But I'm not talking about the boring type of website. I'm talking about, that you don't even need to have a website if you are connected, well connected in the social media platforms. And then eventually you build a website, it'll work out. Today I got many different websites, but one thing I have to say is that in my second phase as a real estate investor, I didn't have one. And guess what? It was the social media platforms. It was the, relationships. It was the internet connections, from sending messages, from, going into Facebook groups, from calling people, from Zillow, from Craigslist, from different types of sources, that I was able to basically find deals, connect with, great people, and just, be able to build from there. So just know that the more abundance that we have in life, the more blind people become. You don't have to believe it, but trust me on this. Today, we have so many options that as many options as we have is the level of distractions that we get to experience. Do you agree, or do you agree with that statement? Leave me a message down below. The reality is that you got to keep it simple. Grab 5 things, and it could be 5 free things, that you're going to focus into, and don't make it complicated. Be disciplined, because one thing I would say, and it's whether you want to call it a golden nugget or a secret, is that, you don't have to be talented, but you got to be disciplined. Because I don't consider myself like, I'm pretty sure there's other people that are more talented than I am. And I got to, the only way I can basically, overwork it is by being very highly disciplined. And the reality of things is that you don't have to be the ultra intelligent, be the ultra intelligent person of the world, or the genius of geniuses. All you got to know is that, hey, you know what? I understand, Raul. People, when they were doing real estate investing 20, 30 years ago, they didn't have it much easier like we do. You guys have it much simpler than I did, certainly. And guess what? I was the one that should have stayed behind, because I was doing basically the old school stuff. So don't get caught up into the things, ladies and gentlemen, that don't produce, that get distractions. Get focus into the things that work, and use the tools, use the social media, use the resources, use the internet, use the platforms, and don't let the social media, the internet, the platforms use you. You gotta use it, so that you can experience some greatness in your life. Let the abundance, see the abundance from a little bit of far, and select your top 5 picks. In that same abundance, it's going to create greatness in your life. But if you see it too close, because you do, trust me, you do. We've been overly blessed, I would agree. We're in a country where we get to experience greatness from many different angles. We're spoiled. We got, we got everything, and whoever doesn't have it is because they're not willing to pay the price, to do what it takes, to be willing to hustle, and to just get things, get the mindset right, get the money right, get the emotional intelligence right. But other than that, ladies and gentlemen, just understand that you have it heck of a lot much more simpler than I did, and therefore you need to start paying attention to those things. We got tools today that, from a phone, from a computer, without having to go outside, we can do business. And that's a freaking blessing. Today we buy real estate sight unseen. We go and see it when we see it after the thing is under contract. And yet, how can you not call that a blessing? To me, it's like super freaking amazing. When I first started, it wasn't like that. It wasn't like it. It was all the, old fashioned, takes a lot of time. We didn't have, so much available on the hard money scale. I mean, today we got a lot. And because we have a lot, we don't see it, because it's so much all at once. You don't have to agree with what I just said, but I wanted to go ahead and share it and remind you about that. All right. So congratulations for being here with me today. Virtual hug from wherever you are. And hey, I want to make a very quick announcement. Every 4th Thursday of the month, we actually have a monthly meetup that we conduct in English. And this coming Thursday, we're actually coming up with our meetup, which is going to be on the 22nd. So if you're interested, just leave me a message down below so that I can send you the link, because we're going to be talking about doubling down in times that are turbulent, like what we're experiencing right now, and doubling down in marketing, because people, a lot of people are kind of putting a stop, and I'm the opposite, the opposite of things. you got to accelerate. Okay. So anyways, if you're interested, just let me know. And that way I can go ahead and invite you to, this coming up Thursday, monthly meetup that we got here. We're going to have a special guest that, it's a good friend of mine that I do business with. And literally, he's going to be teaching us and sharing, the greatness. He's also a real estate investor. You are going to want to be able to learn from him. Okay. Anyhow, always remember that you're one freaking real estate deal away from changing your financial landscape. Get to see you next episode. Thank you.